Hello everyone, and welcome back to Highlighted Text with thirdlaw, where I read out loud the text that I highlight in books that I find interesting. And today we are moving on to part 2 of Can't Hate Me, Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds by David Goggins. So today we are beginning from page 208. Let's get into it. This being my second race, I was starting to understand the rhythm of ultra. It's a constant dance between competition and camaraderie, which reminded me of birds. Louis and I were both racing the clock and each other, but we wanted one another to make it. The reason I embrace my own obsessions and demand and desire more of myself is because I've learned that it's only when I push beyond pain and suffering, past my perceived limitations, that I am capable of accomplishing more, physically and mentally, in endurance races, but also in life as a whole. And I believe the same is true for you. The human body is like a stock car. We may look different on the outside, but under the hood, we all have huge reservoirs of potential and a governor impeding us from reaching our maximum velocity. In a car, the governor limits the flow of fuel and air so it doesn't burn too hot, which places a ceiling on performance. It's a hardware issue. The governor can easily be removed, and if you disable yours, watch your car rocket beyond 130 miles per hour. It's a subtler process in the human animal. Our governor is buried deep in our minds, intertwined with our very identity. It knows that what and who we love and hate is read our whole life story and forms the way we see ourselves and how we would like to be seen. It's the software that delivers personalized feedback in the form of pain and exhaustion, but also fear and insecurity. And it uses all of that to encourage us to stop before we risk it all. But here's the thing, it doesn't have absolute control. Unlike the governor in an engine, ours can't stop us unless we buy into its bullshit and agree to quit. Sadly, most of us give up when we have only given around 40% of our maximum effort. Even when we feel like we have reached our absolute limit, we still have 60% more to give. That's the governor in action. Once you know that to be true, it's simply a matter of stretching our pain tolerance, letting go of your identity and all your self-limiting stories so you can get to 60%, then 80% and beyond without giving up. I call this the 40% rule, and the reason it's so powerful is that if you follow it, you will unlock your mind to new levels of performance and excellence in sports and in life, and your rewards will run far deeper than mere material success. The 40% rule can be applied to everything we do, because in life, almost nothing will turn out exactly as we hope. There are always challenges, and whether we are at work or school or feeling tested within our most intimate or important relationships, we will all be tempted to walk away from commitments, give up on our goals and dreams, and sell our own happiness short at some point, because we will feel empty, like we have no more to give when we haven't tapped even half of the treasure buried deep in our minds, hearts and souls. I know how it feels to be approaching an energetic dead end. I've been there too many times to count. I understand the temptation to sell short, but I also know that impulse is driven by your mind's desire for comfort, and it's not telling you the truth. It's your identity trying to find sanctuary, not help you grow. It's looking for your status quo, not reaching for greatness or seeking wholeness. But the software update that you need to shut your governor down is no supersonic download. It takes 20 years to gain 20 years of experience, and the only way to move beyond your 40% is to callous your mind day after day, which means you'll have to chase your pain like it's your damn job. Imagine you're a boxer, and on your first day in the ring, you take one on your chin. It's gonna hurt like fucking hell. But at year 10 of being a boxer, you won't be stopped by one punch. You'll be able to absorb 12 rounds of getting beat the fuck down and come back the very next day and fight again. It's not that the punch has lost power. your opponent will be even stronger. The changes happened within your brain. You've calloused your mind. Over a period of time, your tolerance for mental and physical suffering will have expanded because your software will have learned that you can take a hell of a lot more than one punch. And if you stay with any task that is trying to beat you down, you will reap rewards. But nobody taps his reserve 60% right away or all at once. First step is to remember that your initial blast of pain and fatigue is your governor talking. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. By running a little while, then walking a stretch, I was able to forge ahead to miles 77, the toughest descent of them all, which is when I saw Carl Meltzer, the speed goat, crest the hill behind me. He wore a lamp on his head and another on his wrist, and a hip pack with 2 big water bottles. Silhouetted in pink dawn light, he charged downslope, navigating a section that had me stumbling and groping for tree branches to stay upright. He was about to lap me 3 miles from the finish line, on pace for a course record 22 hours and 16 minutes. But what I remember most is how graceful he looked running at an incredible 6:30 per mile pace. He was levitating over the mud, riding a whole different zen. His feet barely touched the ground, and it was a beautiful fucking sight. The speed goat was the living, breathing answer to the question that colonized my mind after the Las Vegas marathon. What am I capable of? Watching that Batman glide across the most challenging terrain made me realize that there is a whole another level of athlete out there in the world, and that some of that was inside me too. In fact, it's in all of us. I'm not saying that genetics don't play a role in athletic performance, or that everyone has an undiscovered ability to run a 4-minute mile, dunk like LeBron James, shoot like Steve Curry, or run the hit 100 in 22 hours. We don't all have the same floor or ceiling, but we each have a lot more in us than we know. And when it comes to endurance sports like ultra running, everyone can achieve feats they once thought impossible. In order to do that, we must change our minds, be willing to scrape our identity, and make the extra effort to always find more in order to become more. We must remove our governor. I'd like to sit here and tell you I went all out and drained that fucker on lap 5, but I was still a mere tourist on planet Outer. I wasn't the master of my mind. I was in the laboratory, still in discovery mode, and I walked every single step of my 5th and final lap. Thought of it thrilled me, but then again, I wasn't living it yet. I was listening to music, windows down on a spring day in a blooming desert. I was comfortable as hell. It was all still a fucked up fantasy. The sun would be setting by then, and after driving that section, I pulled over, closed my eyes, and visualized it all. Research is part of preparation. Visualization is another. Word had gotten out at work about what I was getting myself into. And while I had some support from fellow SEALs, I got my share of negativity too, especially when they found out I still couldn't run. But that was nothing new. Who hasn't dreamed up a possibility for themselves only to have friends, colleagues, or family shit all over it? Most of us are motivated as hell to do anything to pursue our dreams until those around us remind us of the danger, the downside, our own limitations, and all the people before us that didn't make it. Sometimes the advice comes from a well-intentioned place. They really believe they are doing it for our own good, but if you let them, these same people will talk you out of your dreams, and your governor will help them do it. That's one reason I invented the cookie jar. We must create a system that constantly reminds us who the fuck we are when we are at our best, because Life is not going to pick us up when we fall. There will be forks in the road, knives in your fucking back, mountains to climb, and we are only capable of living up to the image we create for ourselves. Prepare yourself. We know life can be hard, and yet we feel sorry for ourselves when it isn't fair. From this point forward, accept the following as Goggins' laws of nature. You will be made fun of, you will feel insecure, you may not be the best at all the time. You may be the only black, white, Asian, Latino, female, male, gay, lesbian in a given situation. There will be times when you feel alone. Get over it. Our minds are fucking strong. They are our most powerful weapon, but we have stopped using them. We have access to so many more resources today than ever before, and yet we are so much less capable than those who came before us. If you want to be one of the few to defy those trends in our ever softening society, you will have to be willing to go to war with yourself and create a whole new identity, which requires an open mind. And so with that, we end part 2 at page 219. Thank you for your attention. I hope you're doing great. This helps me remember what I read and apply it to my life. That's why I keep on recording it. And if you find it useful or get inspired to read the book, that will be better and good for me, good for you too. Take care.